this is my first part of what kind of things you should do. So I'm going to be eating while I talk to you about it. So a couple of things that I'm going to start off right off the bat to recommend. I will split it up the videos in 2 parts just because I have to send this to Marissa. But yeah, so the first most is how to pack. So because this is a 17-day trip, I really do recommend that you pack, like, don't overpack, but overpack. What do I mean? So I mean, like, make sure that you have different types of outfits. And also, like, you can get from one shirt, you can do different types of outfit, if that makes sense. But then I also recommend, well, that almost popped. That was pretty cool. I also recommend that you do overpack, but pack wisely. What do I mean by that? So there has been a couple of times now where people lose their luggage. So here's something that I really recommend for you to do. So when you pack, make sure that in your luggage, the big luggage and your small luggage, right? So you want to make sure that in your small luggage, you have all the essentials. So like toiletry stuff, you have at least 7 weeks, or not 7 weeks, 7 days worth of clothes within your carry-on bag and your book bag. Here's why I would recommend like a book bag for this trip. I did not bring a book bag. I don't like carrying a lot of stuff with me. I feel like it would have been a convenience if I would have brought my book bag. It would have made things a little bit much easier for me in regards to carrying an umbrella, in regards to carrying a water bottle, because I didn't bring a water bottle with me this time around. And it would have just made things a lot easier in a lot of areas if I would have just brought a book bag instead of a small waistband. Now, I was, of course, scared of this whole pickpocketing thing that's been going on lately. It's been going on for years, but, you know, kind of like, yeah, I was just scared that I was going to get pickpocketed, which I haven't, not been, you know, Jesus, thank you, Jesus, for that. He's been very protecting me all this time throughout this trip. Yes, and I'm a Jesus girl, so I'm sorry if you feel uncomfortable with me saying that. Basically what I'm trying to say is this. When you get your book bag and you get your carry-on, and you're doing a trip more than 10 days, like, make sure you have a book bag, and in that book bag have everything that you need. And it could be a big book bag or it could be a small book bag. It just depends. It can go on in the airplane with you and that you don't lose it. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because when you lose your big bag, sometimes if it's done in different like standpoints, you can like not be able to get it back. So you might lose essential stuff in the big bag that you put thinking like, oh, like this is gonna be, I'm still gonna get it on the other side. And sometimes you don't. So have a mindset of, so like I was saying, I'm going to put this aside while I talk to you guys. Have a mindset of when you have your carry-on bag and the rolling one, plus your book bag, to have at least all the essentials. So what I mean by this, a pair of jeans that you can wear more than once, a pair of leggings that you can wear more than once, as many panties and underwear that you can get into those bags, put it into those bags, okay? Toiletry stuff. And then I would also, any type of paperwork that you might need, just put it in there as well. The reason why I'm saying this, again, people have lost their baggages and all of these stuff, they're either missing it and they have to, you know, re-buy this stuff again. And sometimes I've seen people spend $200 and something in pounds. So when you convert it, it's like close to $300 in US dollars. Okay, so we want to avoid this. We want to be able, when we travel, we want to be efficient. We want to think ahead, of many things that could happen, because we're like, oh yeah, no, we want to be prepared for this. And so with that being said, in the carry-on and in the bag, make sure that you have stuff that you can sustain yourself for a whole week. And the reason why a whole week is because sometimes it could take a couple of days to get your bag back. But if you don't get your bag back, at least you have a whole week worth of clothes. And then that way, all you have to do is by the end of the week, find a place to wash your clothes. Now, this is where my next tip comes in. So, next tip, laundry. And I'm about to tell you a little small story of how are you going to do laundry on this trip. Let me tell you something. I need to take this off because my head is hurting. Let me tell you all something. I'm going to tell you all something. It is one of the most difficult things to do on this trip is laundry. So you got to be smart about this. So let's say if you lose your clothes and you only have 1 week's worth of clothes with as many panties as you can get. Like I said, you have plenty of options. Yes, you can buy more clothes, especially you're in London. Like, London clothes. Go to, one of the girls went to H&M and you can go whatever store you want and you can get clothes, like extra pairs of clothes, but you still would have those clothes that you still need to clean. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit of story. So I would say the day before yesterday, I think it was on Tuesday or Wednesday, right before we had to leave for Glasgow. So before we had to leave for Glasgow, on the day before, I can't remember the date. Marissa, if you remember the date, awesome, you can put it up here. But on the day before, my roommate Clarissa and I decided that we needed to do laundry, especially because we just needed to do laundry. It was just an accumulation of clothes at this point. So we were trying to figure out what laundromats are open, because here's the catch. The laundromat at the hotel was not open until the 4th of January. So we are on the 3rd of January and we need our clothes clean. It's been a week. So we're like, okay, so we got to figure out how to do this. Okay. So trying to figure out how to do this, right? So we look into the map and see how far we are away from the laundromats. Mind you, we're in Edinburgh. So we're in Edinburgh, Scotland. Our Hollywood Inn Zoo Hotel was about, by car, 10 to 15 minutes away from town. So we had to figure out how to get to a laundromat from the hotel into, if not the city, but somewhere close by. So about a 10-minute drive, because we can only do transportation by bus. Now, mind you, that's not the issue here. The issue here became that, this is not and I'm going to say this very bluntly, how I am. I did not like that we were so far away in Edinburgh from the city, because it just made things more complicated just to get around. We had to figure out the bus schedules on the holiday schedule, which was not very well announced. And so a lot of the times we would miss the bus because we didn't know when the bus was coming. We're very much foreign to the country. Anyways, I'll do a rant about that later on what I think, sorry, my ears are itchy, about what I think, what was the good thing and the bad thing about this trip, because there has been many miniature inconveniences. Of course, the trip will never be perfect, but because of these inconveniences, it's easier for me to provide you guys tips on how well this trip is. So with that being said, going back to the laundry. So we had stopped at I believe it was called Roseburn Garden Stop, which there was a laundromat there. And that being there, we stopped, we walked to it, it was close. So another thing, when you're going to do laundry and you know that your hotel, and this is during the New Year's Eve. So I'm talking to the New Year's Eve people, the people who are like, I'm pretty sure this wouldn't have happened if we weren't on a holiday. So there is that. So like if we weren't on a holiday, I'm pretty sure it would have been easier for us to clean our clothes depending on where you're at. So like if you're not on a holiday and you know you have them, I'm pretty sure you will be able to clean your 7 weeks of clothes within that time period. If you lost your luggage, if you haven't lost your luggage, but then you keep continuous using everything else that you had put in the big luggage. If you want to, unless you want to buy more clothes, that's up to you. Anyways, going back to this. So pretty much we had to walk 20 minutes away from that previous laundromat that was closed. And we walked to the other laundromat, which I had called previously to verify that it was open. And they told me that it was open until 5:30. Now, when we arrived there, there was a lot of, and I'm talking about, you could tell there was a line in front of us. And I'm just so very grateful to God and how he works in these type of ways, because those people literally put those people aside and put us first, because we were going to leave the next day to Glasgow. And so everything worked out fine. But here's something that you need to be aware of. So laundry does not cost the same as it would back in the States. So usually you would go do it by yourself and it would be $2.50, right? No, that's not how it works. So, and I can tell you 2 different instances that laundry was done in front of me. That that cost more than $2.50 putting it in a washer machine. So the first one that we went to, which is the one that I'm telling you about, the story that I'm telling you about, it was £7 for a full bag. So that's like, if you do the authentication, that's like $8 or $9 or something for just one wash in a machine. And they do it for you. Now, when we arrive at Goslow, because everyone needed to do at this point their laundry. So a lot of people right now are still doing their laundries. I had to put in another bag for the hotel that I'm in today, which is different. But the hotel that we were in yesterday, which was in Glasgow, which was a hostel, and you probably by now would have seen the intake on, for it, like how 4 beds it was, where now it's just this 2 twins bed in there. I pretty much like having like more people in the room, but that's just me because I like sleepovers and stuff. But that's besides the point. So when we were at Goslow, the washing machines that were at the hostel that we stay in, there were only 2 washing machines. So it was £4.50 each. So mind you, the washing machine was fine. There was really no problems with them. What we had encountered problem was with the dryer. Why? Because it was £50 or 50 cents. Like, I guess it's like the equivalent of 50 cents in our, or a little bit more than that. I would say it would be like 60 cents. But anyways, it's the equivalence of like 50 cents of like a quarter. And it was only for 5 minutes. So you had to keep putting in more, like 50 pence or whatever into it, until it gives you enough time for you to dry your clothes. Now, there was one occasion specifically that the clothes needed to be dried for more than an hour. So have, an idea of that where you go in, because reality of the situation is that when you are in a foreign country and you don't know what to do because the holidays are in and everything is closed, you gotta start coming up with ideas, because a lot of the times, like, not just cleaning it in the bathroom is sufficient enough. For a lot of people it was on this trip, but for a lot of it wasn't on others. People get tired. You're already tired originally from this trip, so people get tired from this anyways. So that is my second tip. My second tip overall is that you figure out before you leave, where is it that you're going to do laundry. Don't figure it out last minute. Figure it out before you leave. Why? Because it is a 17 days trip, and I really recommend that you do it on a day off, because it will take you more than an hour. It will take you more than an hour. And you can't just walk away. Like, for instance, in Costco, we couldn't walk away from the laundromat because we don't know who was going to come in and steal our clothes, like at that level. Now, if it would have been like the way that I did it in Edinburgh, where we left it with the people and then we came back later, then yeah, you can do that, because then you can just tour around, but you have to come back before they close, because then your clothes will not be returned to you. So that's another thing. So I think overall in this section of tip 2 is just plan it. Just plan it before. Make sure that you have Tide. Tide, like the packets thing that you can travel with. Make sure that you have the 7 clothes of a week there. So you're not always constantly like having to, this is if you lose your luggage. I'm not saying that you're supposed to have a 7 weeks worth of clothes, because no, I didn't bring 7 weeks worth of clothes. I brought about 2 weeks worth of clothes. Probably a little bit more, like close to a little bit more. I think like 12 days worth, like between 14 and 15 days of clothes. That's kind of what I brought. And I knew that I was going to be reusing a lot of my clothes. I did try my best to not overpack when it came to clothes, but I really hate the idea of like putting a lot of the stuff, especially because I have a really strong BL. Okay. And my final tip for the night, I think I would say tipping. So tipping is very, at least our tour guide explained it to us at the beginning of our tour. I personally don't remember, nor do I understand it completely. But now I do. I didn't understand it at the beginning. That's what I'm saying. Completely. Now I do understand it. Now I understand that, so when you tip someone here in the UK, for the most part, when it comes to tour guides, because here's the deal, like I said, in our group right now, it will depend on your group, but if you have Laura, I'm pretty sure she does this with all of her groups. Maybe it's a little bit different here and there, but she gets she pretty much gets, hold on, yeah, we go. She pretty much gets like other tour guides to kind of just takes us around town, and we learn about the history within certain areas of the town, which is fantastic. It's awesome. It's something that I loved throughout this trip. I would suggest that you really do get money in cash, because I haven't seen anyone take like Zello, Venmo, or Cash App tips. So pretty much everything has been in cash. And so my understanding is that if you had, like, if the person who did a really, really good job, you give them as much as you want them to give, but the original is just about $1 to $2 for each person. Now, mind you, $1 to $2 for each person, we're like 26, 30, I think we're like 20, yeah, I think we're like 26 or 27 or something like that. You add that up, and then you get, that is what they get. But because they do a lot of different excursions, then, but you do give them, I would recommend to give them between 10 to 20 pounds. I accidentally gave the first tour guide 40 pounds by accident. But yeah, and then also EF gives you like an estimate of what to give the tour guide of our original tour guide. So like not just every single one. So you're not, so in this right now, we have had, at least so far, we have had the bus driver. Well, I think we had 2 different kinds of bus drivers. So we had 2 different kinds of bus drivers, and we have had 3 different, was it 3 different tour guides? No, 2 different tour guides, I believe. So like 4 people in total, and then tomorrow we have a different tour guide besides Laura. So with these people, you just kind of give them as much as you want to give them to go along. So like, let's say if you take out £100 from the bank, just try to divide that money into tips. And then also there's Laura. Laura lives off of this. So Laura, I think EF says between $60 and $90. But again, you tip them as you want to tip them. But it is just recommended that you do that because it's just out of respect, I guess. I ran out of money. So I have to figure out in the next couple of days how am I going to go to an ATM and get a little bit more money so I can give it to Laura. Because she's done a really good job, and I really like, maybe there's little things here and there, but it's just the same thing. It's not even like something like, you know, it's just very simple, and I feel like she can work on that, and it just depends on the group itself. But that is tip number 3, I think. Tip number 4. So when I travel, I don't like stepping on surfaces area barefoot. Now, have I been doing it lately? Yeah. Do I regret it later? Yeah. The reason why is because there's a lot of germs in the bathrooms, especially a lot of bacteria. And you never know when was the last time they cleaned it. Mind you, they could tell you they cleaned it earlier, but do we really know if they actually really did clean it, or if like they cleaned it very good? You know what I mean? I mean, we are humans. We all know how we live at home. Just saying. So with that being said, I recommend that you bring a little sandal shoes. So like they're like what are they called? The toe sandals, the ones that you slip in and then you go into the shower and you wear them in the shower while you're taking a shower. I really do recommend that. It has come a lot in handy for me, to be honest with you. I feel less icky, and I also have not gotten any what is it called? Any types of diseases down there in the foot. So that's also another thing you want to consider if you know, because a lot of the time some places don't clean very well. So yeah, that's one of tip 4. Tip 5, like I said earlier, make sure that you have cash on you, not just for the tipping for people, but for the tour guides, I mean, but also for the bathroom. So here in the UK, you gotta pay for the bathroom. I have not paid for the bathroom because I make sure that I find free public bathrooms. So there are free public bathrooms, and then there are paying public bathrooms. Now, there was this one time where I went into a paying public bathroom and it looked disgusting. I'm going to say it right out through. I ain't got no hairs in my tongue. It was disgusting. So this is what I say, and this is what I think. This is just the way that I am. If it looks disgusting and I have to pay, I'm not paying. That's it. If it looks disgusting and I have to pay for it, I'm not paying. I will wait until I go to a cafe. So like if you go into the cafes, you have to buy something from them. And just buying a donut or a cupcake, you might be hungry, you might be thirsty, and then go to the bathroom. And the bathrooms are way much cleaner. They're for free in a sense. And technically speaking, I do consider them for free because when you do buy food, it's because you're hungry or you're trying to treat yourself, or maybe you're going to eat it later. So either way, like, you know what I mean? You took the benefit off of it. So in a sense, it's like you're gaining more than what it is when you go into those dirty bathrooms. Like, it was just too nasty for me to even bother. Like, I was like, I'm not peeing. I'm not going to the bathroom in this city. I'm not doing number 1 here. You know, like, this is just not happening. So that is tip number 5, I believe. Yeah. And finally, tip number 6, I would say, just bring everything that comes into your head. So, for instance, on this trip, I brought every type of toiletry that I can think of. I was like, I'm going to be gone for 17 days. What do I usually do in 17 days at home? I know I'm not going to be doing 17 days at home. Like, I'm not going to be doing the same thing at home, but I do similar things like washing clothes, making sure that I brush my teeth, making sure that I'm like, I have different jackets, I have different kinds of coats and stuff like that. Also, adding on to this tip, I would say, like making sure that you listen to your body. You're going to be tired. You're going to be tired. It is okay if you do not go to bars and pubbing all day and every night. Just putting it out there. You don't need to do all of that. Honestly, you truly do not need to do all of that. I understand that you want to live your life, but you can live your life in the hotel room for a couple of hours of resting. Trust me, rest. Because when you don't rest, it accumulates. I have seen people in this trip knock out. Like, knock out full that they are missing other things because they were up the night before clubbing, pubbing, and drinking and whatever it was. And then the next day they miss hikes. They miss, I don't know, like other to watch, like interesting more things than just getting yourself drunk and partying all night long type of thing. I've seen people knocked out to the point where they're like not even conscious at all. So recommend that if you feel like, for instance, I did Liverpool. I came back around 1, so I party a little bit. I did New Year's Eve. We came back around 5:40-ish, close to 6 in the morning. And then the next day after that, I took a day off. I slept, I talked to my roommate, I ate, and I took a day off. And then after the day after that, I went to, I think we went to Straw Dash or something like that's called. And I didn't even like pump, because I'm not usually part of the scene of that type of scene anyways. I didn't really like dance that much. It wasn't really my type of music either. So I just kind of like chilled with everyone and I was pretty much like in it. But I would tell you this, now that I am in Belfast, I'm exhausted today. I'm exhausted because you got to remember, we're constantly moving. Like this is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Like you do have a break. Use it wisely. I'm serious with y'all. Use it wisely because it's just like you get exhausted and you get dehydrated. And if you get dehydrated, the rest of the trip is just going to be a mess. So, like I said, these are my tips for this kind of trip for London, Scotland, and Ireland. I really, truly, you don't have to follow it to the T. It's up to you. But I hope that you at least have opening ears and you're listening to kind of just see a little bit further into the future of what things can happen. Of course, there's only happened, a couple of these things just happens to our group. But if you are going to New Year's, make sure that you are prepared. Also, I forgot to mention that you are prepared that you're not going to do everything. You're not going to do everything. That's okay. They're going to cancel. So for us, we had whales and bagpipes, and they canceled both of those things for us. I believe the bagpipe lady is on vacation, and then the whales, something happened with the days that they changed it, and we ended up like shortening it. And also, it's winter, it's a holiday, so if you're traveling during the holidays, heads up, times are different. Like transportation times are different. Everything, like the way that they're working with things are different. Just because it is a holiday, and they do get these holidays like for a really long time. So like 1st of January came along, they didn't start working until the 4th of January. So just like those little things, have a heads up on that. And yeah, I think that's just kind of my intake on this whole process, I've been having a good time. I have enjoyed every single moment. If it doesn't sound like I haven't, I have. I truly enjoy it, and I'm very much content. Content. Content, I think is with the N. I always confuse the M and N, but that means I'm fulfilled with what's been going on this trip. Was it everything that I thought about, or that, was going to happen? No. But am I happy and am I like enjoying myself? Yeah, fully, truly. And I think that's pretty much it on my side. Thank you so much for watching Alex Ultimate Adventures. Thank you for my fans, the ones that watch these continuously and listen to me. You don't have to, but thank you so much. And I'll see you guys whenever again, I guess. Whenever I get to do these type of trips again. So yeah.